So 6 books altogether.
6 books altogether.
So and you hold workshops now. You help aspiring authors with advice on what to do and probably what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I do that for historical societies and book clubs who want a 1-hour program, and we talk about the importance of the 3 different types. You know, if you're going to write a memoir, it's the easiest one to write because it's your story and you've been to all these places and you know all these people. It's the easiest to write and almost impossible to publish. Nobody wants it. The publishers want to sell memoirs of important people whose names you recognize, and they pay them tremendous amount of money. Yeah. When you send the book, all you get, in fact, I got some 52 turndowns on my
Did you
memoir.
really?
Yes. And in fact, I almost had given up on it when working for Bruce Carland in London. I met a publisher who was helping me get experts to be on our television program. And at the end, after 2 weeks, I got to know him real well, and so I said, "Hey, I've got my memoir with me. You know, you publish military books. Take a look at it. What do you think of this book?" You know, so his name was Lionel Leventhal, and he opened the book up, and he page 1, and looked at page 2, and he shut it, and he said, "Well, I wouldn't publish it," but he says, "You call Orrin Locke at Random House, and tell him I read it and I loved it, and he should publish it." So I don't know Orrin Locke. So I wrote him a note and then told him what Lionel Leventhal had said, and within 2 weeks I had a contract. So that's the problem with publishing, is how do you get publishers to it, you know? And the same with the Final Invasion, finding a publisher for the Final Invasion. So I had a very famous writer on War of 1812 from West Point become my editor, and then he found the publisher for me, you see. And that's how it works. So publishing is a nightmare. Writing is much easier than publishing, believe me. The other thing is there's 3 basic types of books that we talk about. You know, the memoir, the nonfiction, and the novel. The nonfiction is an informative book. That's a book where I go and do a lot of research with my wife, and we come up with a step-by-step, and we explain history in detail about a particular event or time. That's nonfiction. And so we're just trying to tell people something they didn't know or they were curious about and didn't know how to find the details on it. And nonfiction sells very well, particularly Christmas time, particularly military history. It sells 4 to 1 at that time. And you got to remember that over 1.5 million books are written and presented to publishers a year, and 100,000 are published. So those are the odds that you're trying to get. But then the novel. The novel's the king. The novel's the hardest one because that comes from in here. You come up with the idea, you develop the stories, you develop the characters.
So you've written all 3, memoir, fiction, nonfiction.
Right.
What's your favorite?
I like the novel the best because it's not confining. The others are confining. Your memoir, things happened and you got to tell them. The nonfiction is I got to find what took place and try to line it all up so it makes sense. But the novel comes from nowhere, you know, and that's the most exciting. But it's most frightening as well. At one point, 2 years into this book, I realized that I was probably 30% done, and I didn't have an ending. I didn't know how I was going to wind this whole thing up, and it was really panicking until all of a sudden one day, for no reason at all, a very special ending came to me, and then the book fell in place after that, you know.
Fantastic. So again, available at major retailers, available at most bookstores.
Yep.
Also on your website, they can get it there. And just a reminder again, The Final Invasion will be airing September 4th, 7 p.m. here on Mountain Lake PBS. Colonel David.
You'll see me again.
We will.
Bruce let me get into the film.
That's right.
Through all the work that we had done.
Colonel David Fitz-Enz, thank you very much for being with us and taking the time.
My pleasure, Tom.